Good evening, everybody. Today is Wednesday, October the 25th, I believe, 2023. I'm here with Kat Collette, and this is Stars and Cards with Kat and Jeanette. And today we will be talking about the partial lunar eclipse in Taurus that is happening on Saturday, the 28th of October, 2023. Kat, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. These energies are pretty intense, eh?
Yes, I'm feeling that it's a little bit milder for me, as opposed to the full moon in Aries that we had in September and the first eclipse that we had in Libra. Those were those were a little bit more intense for me, but I'm still riding that wave, and I know it's not over yet. How about yourself? How are you feeling with all this stuff?
Yeah, it's kind of caught me off guard, this one. I've been quite emotional, but I've got Jupiter's like exactly on my moon right now. It's going to be exact tomorrow night to the minute. And I also have the the full moon eclipse is going to be on my Saturn. So I'm feeling a lot of the energies, but I'm doing all right.
Good. We just have to keep on going and trucking and kind of flow with the energies, right? And I think trusting in the universe and knowing that we can co-create with the universe, and knowing that we are the universe, like you say many times, um, gives me a little bit of um, solace in knowing that I'm on the right track.
Rather than co-creating with the universe, we're creating as the universe itself.
Yes.
That's yeah. I mean, I'm still anchoring in that as a truth into myself, of course, but it's the eclipse can be it varies depending on the person. Like it can be really intense. Some people might be feeling like certain relationships or groups or the community or a job like no longer resonates anymore, and they just can't stand it, like they just can't tolerate it anymore, or they might just feel like something's really missing from their life, like some kind of meaning. But sometimes you can just really feel like you just suddenly absolutely nothing makes sense at all, and you feel like you're going crazy and nobody understands you. And because eclipses can just bring up like all of the dysfunction all at once, all the toxic patterns. It's basically trying to it's like the universe is trying to show you everything that's in the way of what your soul truly desires, and that's happening individually and collectively. So it's happening to everybody at once. So it just feels like it's crazy out there, but it's all happening inside. It's internal. It's just we're seeing it happen out there. It's being reflected out there, but it's all coming from inside.
Yeah, and there's a lot of distractions as well. Like, so it's funny. It's like a little game where like we're being pulled in one direction to kind of mm, walk into who we truly really are, but then there's the opposite side that's like, no, look over here. Like, pay attention over here. You don't want to go up to the 6D. You want to stay in the 3D. You know what I mean? So there's that constant ebb and flow or the push and pull. Um, and it's really like making you question, like, pay attention to where you put your focus, you know. It's highlighting it for me. I'm noticing I'm constantly having to be on top of myself, and be like, what could I be doing? Like, what else could I be doing other than being on Twitter, you know, or like, like, because it's just, you know, there are a lot of things right now that are just turning us into cyborgs or just turning us into little like thoughtless drones. And so we need to be mindful that we obviously need to be aware of what's going on in the world to some extent, um, but it like the major focus a lot with the individual sign cards that I've been doing for the eclipse has been to focus on your own life and focus on just developing yourself and on your family, or like just yourself. And it's not selfish, because you can't give from an empty cup as well, but you're here to develop yourself, and everything else will follow, because you are a mirror. The world is a mirror of you, and if everyone does this, then our transition to the age of Aquarius is going to be exponentially quickened, right? I don't
And
know where that came from.
everyone's focusing on what's going on out there, obviously more because it's very dramatic at the moment, but it is just a reflection of the changes that are happening inside of us. So it's a good time to really pay attention to the emotions that you're feeling, and to see what they are trying to tell.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And it's also like we know that this all has to happen, right? And so fighting it is not going to solve anything. It's just going to be kicking the can down the road for a little bit longer. And but this is what they've been doing for forever. And the system is not stable anymore, and it's not. It has to come down and it has to collapse for the new to. It's going to be messy, and it's going to be hard, harder for some than for others, and it's going to be uncomfortable. And and in the division that is like this, like the division is just another aspect of the distraction, right? And so with the COVID thing, and the vaccinations, it created division. But now this whole thing in Israel is just dividing people tremendously. And like people don't seem to understand that they don't have to pick a side, and they don't have to get involved, right? Like, but the way that everyone makes it seem is that like you either are for one or for the other, and so
Yeah,
and everyone is vilifying the other. And a lot of things are just being, there's a lot of hypocrisy going on. Let me just put it that way. What are your thoughts?
yeah. Well, it'd be interesting to see how the cards turn out for that, because I feel like this all this polarity, like the contrast, is actually serving us. Like it's, and we are manifesting it. Like we're kind of waiting for it to collapse, but we're creating the collapse from the inside. Like it's happening because we are desiring it. Like we're creating it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
yeah, no, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, so we're manifesting it, but we don't realize that we're manifesting it. And the contrast that's happening, like the polarity and the duality and everything, is getting more and more intense, and it's but that's creating the energy that's needed to drive this leap that's happening. And
It's feeding the monster.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah, like so we could just keep talking but about this, but I think let's let the cards guide the conversation, because that's why we're here. I always just get distracted. No pun intended. Okay. So so we are going to start. So like I'm not sure if we just said it, but this eclipse is a partial lunar eclipse. So what does that mean, Kat? Do you know?
well, the eclipses happen twice a year. Like the sun takes a year to go around the zodiac, right? So we've got the north node and the south node. So every 6 months, the sun aligns with either the north node or the south node. And so now the south node is in Libra, and the sun is aligned with that, and it's just past that. So um, so it depends how far away the sun is from the nodes, from the lunar nodes, as to how full the eclipse is.
Okay.
So basically, it's just an eclipse is just basically a new moon and a full moon cycle that happens when the sun is either at the new moon or at the north node or the south node, not the new moon. Sorry.
Okay, that makes sense. And then this is in Taurus, and it's on the Taurus Scorpio axis. That's correct, right?
Yeah,
So that's about big money and banking.
there is. Yeah, it's the last. So we had it's kind of wrapping up the cycle that started 2 years ago. In the fall, we had a full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus in November of 2021. It was at the end of Taurus. So this is the last one we're going to have for quite a lot of years, either in Taurus or Scorpio, and it's on the financial axis. So it's all about resources and money and, yeah, probably oil and all that kind of stuff. Anything that comes out of the ground um, is going to be affected probably by this one. I know last that eclipse that we had in November of 2021, we had a whole bunch of landslides here in BC,
Mm.
in Canada, where like we had all these sinkholes. There was a whole the Coquihalla Highway collapsed, and so it's almost like the moon was pulling the liquids out of the earth. So we had so much rain though then, and apparently it's not going to rain this weekend, so that's good. But the earth, I mean, the earth is affected by the eclipses too, so it'd be interesting to see. I heard Pam Gregory mention Vancouver on the
Yeah.
astrocartography this eclipse, so I'm not sure if it was for the new moon or for the full moon eclipse. I think it was the full moon eclipse. So and California, so hopefully this earthquake fault line isn't going to be affected. But
Yeah, she also mentioned India and Canada together too, and they've been in the news again lately.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
kind of interesting.
We also have Uranus in Taurus as well, and Uranus is connected with instability of the Earth too. So, and Jupiter's in there to blow it all up and make everything bigger.
Expand it. All
So we've got
right.
a lot of planets going on in Taurus and Scorpio right now. So
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Okay, so why don't we get started then? As you can see, I have five columns and 3 rows, and so in this reading, I did not assign any meaning to each column or row. I'm kind of just going to go through the columns and then jump all over the place and point out different directions, could be meaning different things, and just how the symbols can be merging with each other to create different meanings and whatnot. Okay? So in our first column, we have all sword cards. So we have the Five of Swords, we have the Ace of Swords, and we have the Page of Swords. Okay, so the Five of Swords, the number 5 in the tarot can mean strife and instability. And so we have here a gentleman who has had a battle. And so this Five of Swords can mean battle and enemies and change. And if you see here on the other side of the Five of, at the end of the spread, we have the World. Okay, so we could be having some conflicts and battles and enemies that might not be what they seem going on all around the world. Okay. Now, this also can mean that we perhaps as the West could be the cause of somebody's, because this is a global reading for the global collective, right? So it's not an individual reading. You can check out my individual sign readings if you want something like that. But so either the West is responsible for losses, or the other side of the world is, so it's like we can see here there's 2 sides of the world, right? And so either they are the cause of some sort of loss. And now there it can be some sort of unfairness, and we see that going down from the 5 of Swords to the 3 of Swords. That could be heartache, stress, unfairness, loss. So that's just amplifying the 5 of Swords vibe there, okay? But if we keep going down that diagonal, we see there that there's the 4 of Spears, okay, or the 4 of Wands, and that can mean that is happiness, that is celebration. It's sometimes a wedding, okay, or it could be a wedding, a coming together of people or 2 different cultures perhaps. But this is a portal card, and so on the other side of this portal there is more positive vibes and more positive feelings. Is going to feel uncomfortable during this time of strife and hardship and stress, but it is worth it and we need to go through it. Okay. So, keeping on the first column there, we have the Ace of Swords as well. Okay. So the Ace of Swords can be considered a card of new ways of thinking, extreme focus. It can also be a card that is considered a lesser representation of the Libra, the Justice card, and it can also signify karma and karmic lessons and karmic cycles. Okay, and so we do have some other cards considering ending of cycles, with the world there at the end and the Wheel of Fortune here, in the second last column. So perhaps there will be some countries or some peoples that will be getting karma back to them. And the last card on it could be more new developments in communication, the Ace of Swords as well, and truths coming out. And then with this card, this is the Page of Swords. Now this card can mean news coming in, new developments, the same like the Ace of Swords, but it could also mean spying or misinformation or disinformation or lies or media, um, that has been lying. Okay. Um, I'm going to leave it there for now, and then we'll see if I have to pull those up again after. But there are some things going on behind the scenes. The High Priest, I'm just going to talk about the Priestess a little bit before I'll let you talk. So this is the High Priestess. This is the card that indicates the moon. This is a lunar eclipse. And so but she has a curtain behind her, and you don't know what is behind the curtain. Okay, and so there could be a lot of things going on behind the scenes. It is interesting to see that she's holding the Torah here. Okay, and this is the that's B and J. This is from the Temple of Solomon. Okay, so that's kind of interesting considering what's going on in the world in Israel at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, any thoughts on that column, or how I should jumped around a little bit?
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, so what you were saying about communication and truth and lies and misinformation and things not being what they seem, that's kind of what stood out to me. And all this swords, the swords are related to air, the element of air, right?
Yes.
So about communication. Um, I just feel like all this conflict that's going on in the world right now, it's just, I'm trying to think of how it's serving us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that for me, like personally, that I know when I was younger, I was a bit of a know it all, more of a know it all than now. And then when I started to travel, like I've lived in a few different countries, with different cultures and different belief systems and stuff like that. And it was a really big wake up call for me. Um, and because of that, and because of everything that I've been learning about the universe and about reality as well, like I feel like right now I'm discovering, just for me personally, that most of my beliefs are just like stories that I've been repeating to myself over and over and over, because I'm shedding so many beliefs about who I am and what reality is and what's going on in the world. Like, I mean, what happened in 2020 and 2021 really kind of, you know, was a big catalyst to that. But I've gone through this a few times in my life, but I realize that now that my truth is based on my unique point of view, which is based on my current perception of reality, really. And I've recognized where I've also kind of lied to myself misinformed myself kind of thing, um, in a way, because it's like when we get it, when we've been trying to show people information, they don't want to look at it. I think it's because it's like the nervous system just can't handle something that's not in our reality. It's like we block out information that doesn't resonate because it's like it's about survival,
It's a
really.
cognitive dissonance, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah, but I think it's a survival mechanism, um, because people that are really really intelligent, like, that you would think, oh, they would just look at the information, like they just like refuse, and I've been trying to get my head around why this is, but so I'm trying to relate it back to myself, and I think that what I think I know it's going to keep changing all the time. And so what I think I know now, I mean, like, there's a different, like, sometimes even things really resonate in my body, but then I find out that what I believed was just, it's not that it was wrong, but it was like it was just a partial truth for where I was at, like in my level of consciousness.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Um, I remember, I've mentioned Zachariah, the ascended master Zachariah. And one thing I remember that he talked about was um, that we hold on to false beliefs. Like, it's our emotions that hold those false beliefs. And we invest so much into our own narratives that we create, individually and as a society. We invest so much into it that we just, like, there's just we can't let go of it. It's an emotional thing. But when I allow my truth to be more fluid, like energy, and I accept that it's going to keep changing and I can change with it, it's a lot easier to be more fluid.
Yeah, I
With
totally agree
truth.
with you. Because those thoughts and the truths are like what we have been fed is what we considered our identity to be, right? And it's part of our
Yeah,
identity. And so if we are shown something different that doesn't resonate or coincide with what we know to be part of our identity, that's hard to confront. And then because then you have to shed that aspect of yourself. But the way that I'm kind of feeling that I'm going through the same thing as you is that I'm learning how to be comfortable in an ever changing me. And I'm not I actually said this today. I'm like, I don't care if people don't like we're stepping into our true self, and like my true
yeah,
self today might be different than my true self tomorrow, and I am okay with that, and I am okay. It's more important for me to be authentic to myself than to be liked by others, or to be feeling that belonging, or and to put on the burner who you authentically are, just to so you can be part of this tribe that we have discussed. I think Kat and I tried to do a recording for the last eclipse, and we had a lot of technical difficulties, so we took it as a sign. But so here we are. But that brings me to the point here, that the Page of Swords at the bottom here, when we were talking about the spies and the misinformation and disinformation, I'm also getting the propaganda, right? And how he's like, and it's the battle of ideologies, and if we're pairing that with the battle here of thoughts, right? And that's going on right now. We have a battle of ideologies, and everyone's saying those people are animals, these people are wrong. No, we are the light, we are the true people, we are the good guys, they are the bad guys, and we're being fed this. And like, look, he kind of looks like, believe me or I will kill you, you know what I mean? It's like, so, like, you're not married to an ideology. Your truth should be ever flowing, like the waters coming out of the priestess's gowns, right? So this is something that we need to be shedding and be comfortable with, that like we aren't ever going to be the same people ever again.
I think if we can at least if we like the judgment part is pretty intense right now on the
Yeah.
planet. And I think if we can, I know that if I find myself being really judgy about somebody or something, or even myself or whatever, I try to transmute the judgment into curiosity or even wonder, because it lifts my frequency straight away. And I always learn something new. Like if I, instead of thinking like, why would somebody do that so dumb? I would say, oh, I'll recognize that I'm doing that, and I'll say, oh, I wonder why they would do that. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I just flip it in myself, I feel better myself. But then I start to try and think of all the reasons why they might do that, and then I come up with different things. I think if we can at least in conversations just at least show that we're not a threat to somebody else's truth, then they won't feel like they have to defend it. It's like, because another thing that Zach talked about is that we're moving from defense to collaboration. And he talked a few years ago about how we're moving. It's like the breaking down of the tribe.
Yep.
And people used to get killed for disagreeing with the tribe. And so this is really ingrained in our DNA, like all of us, that like if we speak up and we disagree with family, we disagree with our communities, it's dangerous to do that. And we've been ostracized, and we've been mocked and vilified and blamed and shamed for it, and it's been happening. But now people don't give a shit. They're like, no, I honor your choices, but this is my choice, and that's okay. We can disagree. And I think we're moving to a place where it feels more safe to disagree, but we're just going through the messy part right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think ultimately we're breaking down the tribes because we're going to that individual sovereign, where you don't feel like we used to get our views from our family. Like everybody in the same community used to believe in the same thing, but now we're just like, well, I agree with this, but I don't agree with that. We've got different tribes. We've got work tribes. We've got community tribes. We've got different hobbies. We've got different groups where we can say, well, I disagree with this part, but I agree with that, and that's okay. But a lot of people are so kind of fearful at the moment. They're defending their views, and they're talking, that they're sharing views that they don't even, on things they don't even understand, about things going on in other countries that they've never been. They don't know anything about it, and they've got these, no, this is what's going on. This is
Because
what's
that's
really
what the news is telling them, right? That's what
yeah,
the news is
yeah,
telling them. These guys bad. It's like in 1984, there's the constant enemy. There's always an enemy, and you know, there's always a war in a distant in a distant land that who are the enemy, and um, it's just crazy. But like a lot of people, like I even have people in my family that won't talk to me or meet with me because of my view. Like it's like, but so there's people on different spots of their journey too, right? And so we need to be mindful that we don't need to um, we don't need to convince people of your
no,
truth either. And if people want to be coming to you from a judgmental place, it is not up to you to change their mind, and because that you're going to bring yourself down to their vibrational level, and they are not ready to to be where you are at the moment. They are on a different level.
yeah,
These are the two timelines that are diverging right now.
and that's okay,
Yeah.
and I think that what we're seeing that's going on out there is just a reflection of inside. Like everybody wants the truth to come out, and they want the lies to be exposed. But what we need to do is, I feel, is see where we're lying to ourselves, and see and what's the truth of who we are.
Yeah.
And then that will happen out there. But I mean, the eclipses always tend to show us where we've been lying to ourselves about everything. So it's just going to happen. We don't need to dig. We just need to just allow it to come up and see it, look at it. So,
Great. I think that was a good intro to the reading. Okay, so for the second column, we have the High Priestess. So, like I had mentioned before, this is a card that represents the moon. Now, the High Priestess, she has the three phases of the moon in her on her crown. And so they signify the beginning, the middle, and the end of every situation in her life. But she doesn't manifest it like, say, the high, oh, that is the high priestess, like the magician would. She does it by her thoughts, and she does it by just picturing how she wants her life to be. So she's not using magic per se. She can just see the start and beginning, the end of everything. And so there's also no ceiling in her chamber. So that signifies unlimited potential. Okay, so we are going through some big change and catalyst. It's not even a word. We're going through some huge change here, and we're going through. There's a big destruction of the old system. There's a new, and so there is unlimited potential as to what we can create here, right? And if we go down the diagonal from the high priestess, the what is in the middle of the whole reading is the temperance card. Okay, and the temperance card is a card of alchemy. And I had this in my dream the other night. It was like someone was like, "What is the definition of alchemy?" Like in my dream, I was like, I had to tell. I was like, so we have the ability to change one thing into another. So you can change a bad thing into a good thing, or a good thing into a bad thing. You know, gold or like metal, like false metal into gold. Like that's like what they were trying to do back in the day with alchemy, was to create gold out of different things. But um, you know, this is the card of transformation. This is another card of transformation. Okay, and it is a card of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius means can like mean like learning and philosophy, the pursuit of knowledge and stuff like that. And so when we go back to the high priestess, she has unlimited potential. So what she can learn and what and different ways to think. Okay, so we don't need to be black and white. Okay, and that's so I'll leave that for that. And then we have the Three of Swords going down here. The Three of Swords, I'm getting all choppy. Okay, the Three of Swords. It's a card that signifies heartbreak, stress. But this is the after tarot, so this usually in the normal Rider Waite deck, the swords would be lodged in the heart, and so here the swords have been taken out, and so and then the heart has been bandaged. Okay, so this can be a card of healing, and so we could be going through a healing phase. The high priestess is also, I don't know, I can't believe I didn't mention it, but it's a card of intuition and psychic abilities and stuff like that. So perhaps there are a lot of people in the world that are noticing an increased ability in their psychic abilities, and in their an increased sense of intuition and magic perhaps, and manifestations. Um, a lot of people are raising their consciousness, so this can definitely be something. And then we have at the bottom here the Fool, and this is a different Fool than the Rider Waite deck. This is from the Game of Thrones deck, and so we have Tyrion Lannister here. So I had wanted to say that, before, so this Fool is shining a light in the darkness. So before we had the Page of Swords, like the propaganda, the the lying, the misinformation, and the battle of ideologies. And then we have the search for truth, which is and if you go up diagonally, we also have the temperance card, which is the search for truth as well. So we have him in searching for truth, and he's in a chamber. And behind him is a dragon in the dark. Okay, if you see that. So, but he doesn't notice it. So there's things, and especially with the high priestess as well, she has that curtain behind her and she doesn't know what's behind her. There are things lurking in the dark behind the scenes that we don't know about. And we are going to be going through a rough time because the light is going to be shined on those things soon, and it's going to be giving us new perspectives and new information and new ways of thinking about things that we thought we knew about before. Any thoughts?
Oh, lots. um, I love this, how you describe the high priestess energy, because it's and the way it ties in with the other cards, because for me the high priestess is it's like the divine feminine power that she knows that she's the universe and she can create, that she has unlimited potential, um, and she and that and that she's come up here with the moon, and with the contrast of the black and white, like you said about we don't need the black and white, but we can actually use that contrast and the temperance energy to transmute the energy and the frequencies, and use that and like harness that energy to create what we want, with that energy, like we were talking about before. And there's in the chart actually, we have we've got the Earth trines. We've got Pluto trining Uranus and the Black Moon and Shiva, and we've also got Goddess Kali in there as
Wow.
well. And so Uranus and Goddess Kali and Black Moon Lilith are like the destroyers of illusion, and Pluto. So but it's in this. We've also got this beautiful water energy with Saturn and Vesta and Haumea and the Sun in this beautiful water trine too. And so there's like a compassionate communication that so we can destroy the illusion, but do it using compassionate communication. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, Jupiter and Uranus are about truth as well, and temperance, I believe, that's a Sagittarius card.
Yep.
So ruled by Jupiter, and so yeah, so that really ties in with the astrology. I feel.
Great.
And the Fool definitely, just the whole shine, and what you said about him on that particular card, with him shining the light and shining on the truth as well. So
Amazing. Okay, let's get into the middle row. The middle row, we have the Queen of Pentacles, Temperance, and the Four of Spears. So the Queen of Pentacles, she is a very resourceful queen. She is the most resourceful queen out of the whole deck. And she is very good at business, and she is good at taking care of what she can focus on things that provide her stability, and she enjoys living in luxury, but she also can take care of things in her community as well. This is a Virgo card. So, being focusing on things around the house, things that are practical. So this is focusing on your current environment, right? Focusing on your home, focusing on your finances. Okay, the next half of the reading is going to be more about finances and collapsing of the financial system, because it is on unstable grounds right now. I just saw a graph today, um, about the four big banks in New York on Wall Street. And if you look at the year to date, um, let me see if I can pull it up. If you look at the year to date, the graphs, they have like there, it looks like there's going to be some sort of big financial collapse coming, because there's like JP Morgan, Citibank, Chase, I believe. No, that's not going to work now. Okay. Yep, it's not working. It doesn't want to show it to me. So, anyways, but there's like a dramatic decrease. So, if you know, in the beginning of when in the beginning of the year in March, there was all those banks that started going under, right?
Mhm.
And so this is they're saying that this is a similar kind of energy happening there. And it if you look at it, it's a slow. Remember, we were talking before we started recording. The financial collapse is not going to be a quick thing. It's been a slow progression for a long time. And if you know the reasons why these things are collapsing, like the U.S. dollar is not backed by anything. We have the BRICS nations coming in. The U.S. has been using their currency as a weapon with sanctions all around the world, keeping other countries in debt and unable to get out of debt. They're keeping countries poor, with yeah. So anyways, I'm going off on the tangent here, but you need to, like, you need to, a lot of people that I speak to, they are like, the US is never going to collapse. I'm like, but you need to kind of get yourself wrapped around the context of these situations. And with the debt ceiling being uncapped for until 2025, right? They're just allowing the money printer to print money into infinity without a limit. And now they had the Ukraine war where they're money laundering so much money. They're still sending money there, even though they know that they're losing. Now we have the Israeli uh, Hamas Palestinian war, where they say now they're like, so they're making another. They're saying that Hamas might have chemical weapons in those um, caverns underneath. So like now they're making an excuse to have to go in right now. So now the United States is going to have to go in hot, and they're Iran might be going into that, and then we have Taiwan that's probably going to be going into that as well. And so all of this money, where is it coming from? All these ammunition. So it's like a controlled demolition. And now in Canada, they're saying they want to put in universal basic income with, like, I don't know what money, and it's going to be for refugees and like people that don't even are not citizens here, right? So I'm not, it's just, I'm not, we're not going to get into the politics of that. It's just like, you can't sustain this type of system. It's a debt system, and
Yeah.
you can't sustain it. I know I got off a little bit of a tangent, but anyways, so we have being resourceful here, and then we have the temperance card. Okay, so we are able, if we pay attention to what is going on, we, never let a crisis go to waste, right? That's the whole motto of everyone in power. But you can utilize that to your own advantage as well. If you keep your ear to the ground and know what's going on, then you can change your situation as well. Because there is, if considering the United States dollar is not backed by gold or anything, a lot of talk is about going back to a metal, or like a gold commodity backed currencies. That's what a lot of the other countries in the world are doing. So you need to be doing research into where your investments are, because they might be going from one to another, and you need to maybe switch and start looking into that and look and teaching yourself that. I'm sorry, I'm just having to say that. And then we have the portal here. So if we do these things, the Four of Spears, four is a card of foundation. It is right at the bottom of this column, and it's about solid foundation, creating a solid foundation for your family. This is a family in their garden. This is about being married, but marrying your values to your practices, and talking the walk, walking the talk, and having a better life at the other side of this portal of this eclipse. Okay. Cat, take it over.
Oh my God, that's a lot in there. But yeah, that's I agree with everything that you said. Obviously, we're in the middle of the Pluto return of the United States, and as you said, like the old system can't sustain, multiple wars, and it was already a mess. Um, I think that I feel like it's, what's happening out there. I'm always banging on about internal world creates external world, but it literally is. It means that, the old paradigm is collapsing out there because it's collapsing inside of us. It's like a regime change inside, creating outside. And as we've had this, we had the North Node in Taurus for all that 18 months there. We were discovering that, just going back to like simplicity and discovering that our energy has worth, like that's a currency in itself. And we've been learning how to resource ourselves because everything's so freaking expensive, and so we're finding new ways to resource ourselves, and we're also, I feel, transcending our idea of what wealth is and what abundance is. And going back to that Taurian, simple life, like if you've got a roof over your head and you've got food in your fridge, and you've got a safe place to sleep at night, then you have everything that you need. You are abundant. You can get 10,000 seeds from one plant,
Yeah.
and you can grow your own food. And if you have those things, you can govern your own life. And we're getting to the point where they're like, we're going to do this to you and we're going to do that to you, and we're literally finding out that we don't go on, then go ahead, do it, because we'll be fine. We can grow our own food, we can trade, we can do all, and also we're getting more grateful for what we do have, and we are the universe, we are abundance anyway. We can create anything that we want. And with the Queen of Pentacles, it's we have Venus in Virgo right now. You said that the Queen of Pentacles is connected to Virgo. So Venus has just gone through the underworld. She's come out the other side, and now she knows her worth. She knows what she can create. And we have this Shakti Shiva kind of thing going on with Goddess Kali and the Black Moon and Shiva. And we've got with conjunct with Venus in Virgo. And it's trining with Uranus in Taurus. And that is like, I mean, Shiva is like the vital energy, and like you combine that with Mars in Scorpio, like that's our vital energy, like that's the Kundalini energy, pushing us forward. And and with Mars in Scorpio right now, like Mars is getting to the bones of what he really, really wants, what his true desires are, not like the bullshit desires, the things that he thinks he wants, but the things of what he really, truly wants. And we can't manifest things without desires, and we can't have desires without a lack. So we've gone through, we all figured out what we don't want, and now we're figuring out what we do want with Mars and Scorpio, I feel. And this eclipse, I think, is going to show us all that. So.
Yeah. And while you were talking about like what you can grow your own food and stuff, I was showing you this, but the Queen of Pentacles and the Four of Spears, they're both in a garden, right? They're both in their own garden that's on their own property. And so and something that also came up with the Queen of Pentacles, right? Time is also currency, right? And so we have been playing this game in the Matrix of the bankers and like the Rothschilds. They, like this 9 to 5, wake up every morning, like we got Sunday off, thank goodness, and now we just work our life until we retire and then we die. Like that's not, and we trade our time for money. That doesn't even mean it. That's not even worth anything in reality. And so what do you value? And this is telling us, analyze what you value in your life. And so maybe we need to break away from this 9 to 5 working for someone else mentality and get back to our roots of working for ourselves, trading things, and having tangible items like intangible currencies. Because I think this is a coin, they're going to be changing. It's turning
Mhm.
into something else in this portal eclipse. Okay, so we need to reimagine what we consider to be currency, and time is currency, energy is currency. Are you getting reciprocated back equally from what you put out? In your job, do you get paid enough for your job? Do you have enough time to enjoy your hobbies or your life after you come home from work? Or are you too tired? Is this a way that you want to live, or is it not? Like, these are things that we're being called to analyze in ourselves. Like, what is important to you? What are your values, and how do you want to live your life?
Yeah, that time is something that we want to manifest. It's a part of what abundance is.
Yeah, and some things that I've been adding into my daily meditations is like, it's you don't need to be feeling bad or like to want to enjoy the 3D realm. We are here to enjoy the 3D realm as well, and to so we can't we are spiritual beings, but we're put here, right? And so I'm saying, like, I want to live and have a life that can give me independence and freedom, so I can enjoy this 3D realm while I am here. I can go travel, I can spend time with my family, and I don't have to be distracted making money for someone else. So it's like, we don't having things is nice, right? But they should it like, the pursuit of things shouldn't run your life, but you can enjoy beauty, you can enjoy the things that the world has to offer, but it all has to be in balance, right?
It's an illusion that we can't create that.
Yeah, yeah. And be happy, like, we were here to be abundant, as that lady at the what is that group called?
The Galila Collective.
Yeah, so yeah, we are, it's our birthright to be abundant, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's nothing to be shameful of, right? Okay, moving on. All right, we're doing great for time. It's like 52 minutes. Okay, so the next column is the Nine of Cups. And I'm going to tell you, I getting a different vibe off of this card. Now, we have the Nine of Cups, we have the Ten of Wands, and the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so normally this card is about basking in the energy of what you want to create, right? This guy looks, he's well fed. He's been enjoying in some libations. He is basking in the energy. So, but to me, I'm getting the vibe of bankers, and I'm getting the vibe of like the fat bankers that are laughing at everybody, and like they're just sitting back and drinking their wine in their elite little parties in Davos and stuff like that, and they are laughing at the world and at the struggles that everyone is going through, because we see here, these are burdens that people are having. The ten of wands can be a heavy burden, but we can also see it in the positive sense here, that the Ten of Wands, he has planted those sticks or those wands in his farm, and now he's harvested them. So we're in harvest season, and he's walking home. He's just taking a little rest, putting it down because it's heavy on his shoulders. But he's going to be enjoying the fruits of his labor soon. And this is the number 10 card. Okay. And so we have a 9 card. So this is approaching the finish line. We have a 10. Okay. And then the Wheel of Fortune is also a 10. So this is the end of a cycle. Okay. So it could be the end of, and this can also be the banking system, because this is beside the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so this is beside the Queen of Pentacles, and it's next to the World. So the world banking system. Now, it's too heavy. The system is collapsing because it's too heavy and it's too much of a burden on the shoulders of the world. Okay, because that is diagonally to the world there. And now the wheel is turning. Jupiter is turning the wheel, and it is moving. We have it in the King of Coins here. This is Taurus card. This is a card of convention and a card of bankers as well. And a card, he's always done things the same way, that he's very apt to do things the same way. He's not open to doing new things. So this is reluctance to try new things. This is the banking system as well, right? But the world is changing. The wheel is turning, and we are at the end of a cycle. So we have all the fixed signs here. We have Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, and Aquarius. Okay, and then we have the lady in the middle here of the wreath. She is like another representation of a magician. She has two wands in her hands, and she can create the next chapter with those wands. Okay, she's like the magician.
Which one is that, sorry?
This is the World.
Okay.
So this is the very last card of the major arcana. And then, so a person starts as the Fool, goes through all the major arcana. These are all of our lessons of our lives that we have to go through. And once we reach the World, we go back to the Fool. And then we start the journey all over again. So, and I want to add that if you look at past financial reserve currencies of the world, like since the 1400s, I have a graph for that. They last about 80 to 100 years, and before a new one is brought on. And usually major wars are the catalyst of financial system change. So there's a lot of talk going on about World War III right now with this situation, but it's been since World War II that the American dollar has been the world reserve currency, and or maybe World War One. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to check that, but I think we're between 80 and 100 years of the U.S. being the world reserve currency. So I think that we're actually overdue. So that's interesting. No, I think it was World War One because the UK was the world reserve currency before the pound. And I think America helped rebuild a lot after World War One. So, yeah. And then we just have 3 portal cards here. So we have the World, and then we have the 4 of Wands twice. Okay. So
the 4 of Wands is the portal card.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've got
it's like an 11-11 kind of thing. We have to go through the portal. But there is positive times ahead on the other side of this portal, but the burden is going to be heavy and it's going to be uncomfortable, but the change needs to be made. And there's pushback from the bankings. Yeah, you can see that he's not quite happy about this. What are your thoughts, Kat?
Yeah, look, I think the banking system is probably going to collapse with all these different institutions, and we're going to realize that power it's all been an illusion, and ultimately, I think that the whole idea that we have around money, it's like the the more that we're in this lack and scarcity mentality, the more we kind of try to kind of hang on to it, which is what the banking system and what these people in power, they're trying to hold on to all
Yeah.
their money right.
He's holding on. He's like holding on to it, right?
Yeah. And so the more they feel like they're losing their power and their control, the more tightly they're trying to hold it. But that's like holding on to your resources. It's like the opposite of abundance frequency, because it's not about the money. Abundance is not about getting the money. It's like we don't want the money. We want the things that money gives us, the state of being, like that feeling of being free and safe and secure and having more time and being able to do the things that we want. And so the more that we can anchor into that as a frequency, despite all the chaos that's going on out there, I think that the more we can create the abundance that we want. And with the Pluto return, and also the position of Saturn right now, which is Saturn is in a square with Sedna. Saturn's in Pisces in retrograde. And for me, that's, and when I combine it with the energy of Sedna, it's like, we think that all the spiritual work that we do, it has like climbing this mountain, but I think that Saturn in Pisces, it's like the upside down mountain, with Saturn kind of holding the form of the water for us to release all the emotion. Is like a physical container, like the rocks, kind of like the upside down mountain, like the with the water inside. Does that make sense? Yeah. And with Sedna, and actually this on the eclipse, on the new moon eclipse, the south node was conjunct with the asteroid Lilith and Persephone. So I think that we're releasing this, we're letting go of this victimhood mentality, like the victimhood and blame. And we're starting to take more kind of radical responsibility for our own reality. And instead of being, this blame and shame and this, this whole patriarchy kind of thing. And like with Sedna and with Saturn, it's like, and with Pluto return, it's like the end of the patriarchal kind of power. And I think that we're moving more into a balance of the divine masculine and feminine.
Yeah, I can see that because we have the Queen and the King of Coins too. So then we have both the masculine and the feminine there.
Yeah. And the Shakti Shiva, and also Saturn is opposite the mean position of the black moon, like right is exactly opposite the black moon, and also with Juno. And it's kind of, and Saturn's in a good aspect with the sun and the moon on the eclipse too. And also Saturn is kind of closely, well, it was closely conjunct with the fixed star from Fomalhaut. But now, and Saturn's about to turn around soon here and go back over it. But it's, and so there's a lot of intensity, but there's also a lot of compassionate communication and a lot of release. Like, so with going to the bottom of the upside down mountain and falling to the bottom of the ocean, like Sedna, it's like full surrender and just allowing, instead of like doing all this spiritual work and like it's like a task that we've got to do. Like I know that a lot of people talk about Scorpio season as like doing the spiritual work, but I feel like it's just about allowing the emotions to just flow and just move through, and don't try and intellectualize them. Like our emotions are like the keepers of our information. Like they're like compressed information that just wants to be set free. And emotions are essentially what connects us with our subconscious. It's like it's like the bridge between the unconscious and the conscious. And so when we can just allow ourselves to just fall and just, be kind to ourselves and not think, oh, there's something that we should be doing, but just allow just allow the emotions to move and transmit the information from our subconscious so that we can learn about who we really are, and just, but not try and intellectualize the feelings as they're coming out. Just allow them to come out, and then you can always invite them back to tea later and work them out, what they were about. But just when they're moving, like just as soon as you start trying to intellectualize your emotions, you kind of stop the flow.
Yeah.
And if you judge your emotions, then then you're cutting off your source, and you stop in the flow as well. So I hope that all makes sense. But
Oh, it does. The emotions are there for a reason, but it's sometimes just a beautiful. Human emotions can be very beautiful to just watch and to acknowledge when they happen to you. I remember when my dog died, I was weeping, but I know I was like, this is a beautiful. It's beautiful, like the sadness that you can feel. Like I don't know, it's really weird to say that, but like the emotion when you take a look from like yourself at the outside is just like a raw. It's so raw. It's just a beautiful thing. So like taking, yeah, it's not analyzing why you're feeling, like just feeling the beauty of what it is to feel human and feeling all of those emotions. Right? It's quite
that's a version
profound.
of you. That's your higher self. That's kind of like the Saturn in Pisces. It's like our inner parent that's kind of there for us. Is like there's all like no matter how bad things get, there's always like a version of you that's in there observing the emotion, that's always telling you that somehow it's going to be okay. You always know that even if it's really faint and quiet, like you just got this sense that for some reason it's all happening for a reason and everything's going to be okay. That's your higher self. That's you as source.
Yeah.
That's that's why we're here. We're here to experience all this contrast and this extreme stuff so that we can journey back to who we really truly are. But we have to let go of all the bullshit first that we've believed, all the lies that we've told ourselves about what we can and what we can't do. And this patriarchal thing, I think, is a big thing that we're releasing as as humanity.
Well, it's interesting to see here with the bottom of the Queen of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Pentacles and the Four of Spears in the same row, and then we have the King of Pentacles with the Four of Spears in the same row. And so that can be like the Four of Pentacles can also be like a balance because there's two on one side and two on the other side, right? So it's like, and the king and the queen both had them, and so we see here that things can be maybe changing to be a little bit more balanced with the masculine and the feminine, and it's all around the world, like because like those were the third cards in both those. It's
And
interesting.
so on the new moon is when the moon and the sun come together. That's like when the masculine and feminine come together, and then on the full moon they're opposite. So
Ah,
it's
it's
like
a
a
little
pulse,
dance.
like a heartbeat. Like they come together and then they're opposite. So when we on the new moon is when we manifest, and we the masculine and the feminine come together, and we pulse out our desire, and then the moon goes around, and then they're opposite each other. That's when we get shown all the things that where we're out of alignment with the
Mm,
things we're trying to manifest. And we think that this is happening to us, but it's happening for us so that we can see it's our own system showing us where we're out of alignment.
yeah.
If you think that you are the universe, and so everything around you, it's your own system showing you like this is what you wanted. So we're going to show you where you're out of alignment.
Such a like little game, eh?
It is a game, all the time, and that's why we come here to play this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
like symbols, right? It's all symbols and like
yeah.
codes, and like you just gotta break the codes. It's like all the Jungian stuff, right? It's very interesting. Hey everyone, sorry. Like always, our internet connection and technical difficulties arose, so I had to end it there for Kat and I. So we will probably be doing another video for the winter solstice. I have other readings for this eclipse for each of the signs up on my YouTube channel. The air signs and the water signs still need to be done, so they will be done before Saturday's here, and then I will be doing some readings for the month of November for each sign as well. I got a busy week ahead of me. So if you did like that, please like and subscribe to my channel, and have a wonderful rest of this eclipse season and the rest of the 6 months. It's going to be a bumpy ride, so hang on to your bootstraps, keep your ear to the ground, and take care of yourself. Okay?